everybody, it's Christine. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry it's been a hot minute that I've been gone. It got busy over Christmas, and I'm hoping everybody had an awesome Christmas and New Year's. We had a busy one for 3 days for Christmas because two of my sister-in-laws are born on the same day. No, they're not twins. They're exactly 2 years apart. So we have that birthday in there, and then Christmas and here, and my mother-in-law's because my mom comes here. And then it's just busy. I've had a couple of orders, so I've been working on those. And then my hand decided to, I have issues with my right hand. Sometimes my left, but my right hand, and since I'm right-handed, I can't do a lot of cutting. So I have a lot of felties that need to have their backings glued on. Unfortunately, precision work I can't do right now. And then, so when I do get my hands working again, I do lots of stuff. So I got an order yesterday for a bunch of badges, little flags, and space, because American Girl doll, the doll of the year, is space oriented. So, and I'm going to be getting more orders for those, I know. Anyways, life has been busy, sort of. And then I also got a lot of reading done. And I don't even know where to start. So I think I'll just go through the list really quickly. And we'll go from there. The first one is The Shop on Blossom Street by Debbie McComber, and this was for the Triple RC Challenge. This is my first one of hers that I've read. My mom's read all of hers. But this is about 4 girls who you would not think would be friends, all come together in this brand new knitting shop that the owner has opened up after battling cancer for the 2nd time. So she wants to make a new start with life. I liked it. I loved seeing how 4 completely opposite people sort of come together, and the most unlikely people. One is on the verge of being completely overtaken by drugs. One wants a baby so badly and can't. She can't carry a baby. One is a socialite, and the other, what was the other one? I think it was just the 3 and the owner. So she's struggling with not wanting to get into relationships because she's afraid that the cancer will come back and she'll die, and she can't do that to somebody. So, and then it's also the relationship between her and her sister. So yeah, I think I gave it a 4. So we'll just throw those down there. And then I read The Wicked Wickerly, the first in The Rebellious Sons by Patricia Rice. Trying to remember this one. Oh yeah, he's an earl who comes into his earldom bankrupt, essentially. So he's trying to, I wouldn't say hide, but he's trying, well, he does go into hiding, actually, and tries to make amends and pay off the debts of his brother. And he makes this deal. He gets money from his expectant fiance, his father, and so he was supposed to come back and marry her. Anyways, he meets up with this woman who's trying to get back in with her 4 siblings, I think. Yep, she's trying to get the custody of her 4 siblings back after her father dies, something like that. Because, you know, back in the 1800s, single women don't get custody of their families. So I think a 4. Then, whoops. Okay. Then I read John Grisham's Skipping Christmas. I gave it a 3. The movie is much better. I've only had this instance one time before, and that was Perks of Being a Wallflower. I like the movie better than the book. The movie has a lot more things in it than actually make it funny. This one is kind of haphazard and it just doesn't feel finished. There are a lot of things that were out of sequence from the movie, but there was a lot of stuff that was added to the movie that are not in here. So the movie is definitely better. So 3. Then I read Dear Santa by Alice Orr, and this is about 2 people that work at a like a community rec center for kids. And these 2 kids, well, this one boy writes a letter trying to get funds to help with, because his mother's in a mental institution, I think. Is it a mental sanitarium? And they're kind of like in foster care with their mother's best friend. And then he sees something that he shouldn't, the little boy. And so he goes into hiding. And then the 2 caseworkers, care workers, community workers kind of step in and try and help get things resolved. So it's a 3. Yeah. Then, whoops. Hold on one sec. There we go. Then I read this when I was a teenager, and I know a lot more about drugs and different, I wouldn't say components of drugs, but what drugs are addictive, when or not, that sort of thing. And when I read this, I think I was 14 or 15, and it stuck with me. I don't know why, it stuck with me. And then I read it again, and it didn't stick so much. And then, of course, is Go Ask Alice by Anonymous. Like I said, back when I read it, I thought it was an authentic thing. And now, knowing that this book and a different one, which, oh, there they are, were written by a caseworker, social worker, religious nut. I don't want to say religious nut as a bad thing, but an overzealous person that really wants to push their beliefs on somebody. Because I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. That's my distinction. But anyways, if she had done her research a little bit better, even though this was a fake book, like it's not based on a real person's journal or anything, it was actually it's a fiction book, but it's touted as a real book, which there's part of the problem. Anyways, she says that this girl gets addicted to LSD trips. LSD is not addictive in the sense where you take one hit and you are constantly wanting more. You're constantly looking for the next hit. And yet the girl in here, she does pot and LSD, and she's completely addicted. She gets into this bad crowd of kids that smoke pot, and her life is ruined, and she lands on the streets over pot and LSD. And yet she takes an injection of smack and doesn't feel anything. Does not get addicted to that. Was there cocaine in here too? Or heroin? But the injectable drugs are the ones that are addictive, and it just blew it right off in the sense that she didn't get addicted to it. She just didn't feel it. Like, she got high off of it, but she didn't get the addiction from it, whereas she's getting the addiction from one hit of LSD and one joint. I think the author could have made a more impact-filled story if she'd just done her research a little bit more. I mean, if you don't know, from a teenager standpoint, if you don't know that stuff about drugs, it's still an impactful story, but with the wrong information. So I ended up, I think, giving it a 2 or a 3, just for, like, if you know that those drugs are not addictive, and that the addictive ones, it's showing the wrong light on the addictive drugs and not the non-addictive drugs, if that makes sense. So we'll see. I did finish, I think I finished these two first. Then I read I read all these in like a week. I read The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I've never read it, never seen it. From what I did see of like previews or trailers on YouTube afterwards, the movies have more in it than this does. It was good, but I felt a little underwhelmed. I thought that it was almost like he was just in a dreamland, that he focused on not quite the stuff that you would focus on. It's hard to describe. I mean, for its time, it is a very well thought out book or idea for that time. Now, though, there are way more detailed books. I don't know. I think I was expecting too much because it is a highly loved book. But it was still good. I just thought there was, on the fact that it was a narrative. He's telling a bunch of people, and a bunch of people are not allowed to talk to him while he's telling this. I felt left hanging at the end, kind of, sort of. If you've read it, you'd understand, but still a 3 or a 4. But you really don't get a sense of, other than the surrounding foliage, you don't really get a sense of futuristic stuff that kind of seems to be stuck in my mind for time machines when you're going into the future, like 800,000 years. So yeah. And then I finished Christmas Eve at Friday Harbor by Lisa Kleypas. I like her historical novels, but I haven't read one in a while. This one was a woman getting over a marriage and moving to a new place. Opens up a toy shop, and this man inherits his 6-year-old niece because his sister has died tragically in a car accident, and she has selective mutism, which means that something tragic happened and she can no longer talk. So he and his brother decide to fix up his brother's house, and they all live there and help fix it up. And, they go to the toy shop and something happens there. I'm not going to say because it is so cute. But yeah. So I think I gave it a 4. It was a pretty fair reading time. And then, I hope this does not fall over. I have orders over there. We finally finished Harry Potter right after Christmas or right before Christmas. Dusty. I don't know why. And the Deathly Hallows. I still like the one with Umbridge better. This took a long time to read. It took us over 2 months. So I kind of don't think I was immersed in the story as much as I could have been if I had read it on my own, but I finally was able to finish reading the story to my son. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to continue to read to him because he's 11 and he's starting to get more into wanting to read on his own, but he still is in the same room with me as we're reading, and he asks me questions if he doesn't understand words or stuff like that. So he's on his second book of the Friday Night at Freddy's? Five Nights at Freddy's. Thank you. So he's reading the second book. Some of it he doesn't understand, some of it he does, but he's enjoying it. So that's all I care about. So yeah, not much to say. I can't really say much without giving a whole bunch away. So yeah, I think the one with Umbridge is my favorite. So, but still 5. It's Harry Potter. Come on. And then I read this in like 2 hours. Diary of a Wimpy Kid 3, The Last Straw. My son loves them. I just read them for something quick to read, just lighthearted, silly things. I get a kick out of the movies, but so yeah, this, I think the first 3 books would be the first movie, sort of. But this one seems to show Greg Heffley as an instigator, a selfish, self-involved character, and I didn't take too kindly to it. I know Boys Will Be Boys, they're 11, I think, but he's so selfish in this one. I just, yeah. So anyways, I think I give it a 3. And this one, I was kind of humming and hawing on. And it is Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. In the end, it turned out a lot better than I was expecting. The first little bit was kind of, not too sure. I mean, once you understand what's going on with her, you can kind of get it. But while you're reading it, you're thinking, are you serious? Like, really? And then the girl, is it Audrey, neighbor? Oh, she's a winner. Yeah, Audrey. She's a socialite that seems to think that everybody must bow down to her, and every version of her story is the correct one. Yeah. Wow. So anyways, she always says she never leaves the house, and she's agoraphobic, and yet she's always going to the school to pick up her daughter. She's going here and there, and she goes and shops, but she has this assistant who lives in India doing all her local appointment making and ordering stuff for her when she's on the computer as it is. So why can't she? It's just, it's one of those things that really. And what else was there? She goes into depth with people that she hasn't talked to in 20 years. And there was this like 17-page email that she sent to him, and it's just, wow. But yeah, it's quirky. And I like the ending, but you kind of see that coming. So I think I gave it a 3.75. Yeah. And one other book that I read was, if we can just get the cover up. Oh, it's not going to. But it's My Uncle Oswald by Roald Dahl. This one right here. It's my first Roald Dahl book. And I know it's not a children's book, but wow. It's about this man who publishes the journal of his grandfather or his uncle, duh. Yeah, only on my second coffee right now. And it's about when he essentially comes up with Viagra, but it's Spanish fly meets Viagra. It comes from this beetle that's only in, like, not the Congo, but can't remember if it's South America or Africa, maybe. But you grind up the beetles and this powder and it becomes Viagra, but a very potent Viagra. So he puts it in chocolates, and he gets with this woman that he has been with previously. Then now he only sleeps with a woman once, and then they're no use anymore. And then he meets up with this doctor who essentially comes up with artificial insemination of animals, and they concoct this idea of using this Viagra it's not Viagra. It's essentially the same thing, though. It's a very potent thing that the pinhead amount is a dose that would last for hours. So they go and try and get all these signed blank papers, and from these genius men, royalty, they essentially steal their sperm, and they want to artificially freeze it for, time. So once the person dies, then they sell it off and make money on, and they have these signatures saying that it is theirs. It's pretty much essentially stealing sperm, artificial insemination, Viagra, all in the 1930s. Yeah. So it was quirky. You kind of feel like you've missed something, though, at the beginning, because these are his journals from that time period, and he's got others before and others after. But I think it was a 3 read. I don't know. Just wasn't my thing. So currently I am reading oh god, Fire Me Up by Katie McAllister, and it's has to do with dragons in that, but it's the orange one. And she's carrying an artifact to Budapest this time instead of Paris. So I haven't gotten too into that because I know I'll get into that more than what I'm reading now, which is slower than molasses, or at least the first 100 pages, where it's starting to pick up now. But it is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I knew about this book. It wasn't really on my radar, but it met a challenge. So I figured whatever, I'll grab it. And the first 100 pages I had to do, I think, 2 chapters, and then 1 chapter that one, and 2 chapters of this one. Like, I'm forcing myself to read it because I know that it has the potential to be funny and good. But it was a slog to get through the first 100 pages. But once I got past that, then it started to pick up, because there's more interaction with the 2 people that actually hate each other. And now they're vying for the same office job, and yeah. But it says that they hate each other, but it's not. It's almost like a childish game of hating each other, and they're constantly playing little games, like staring games. Who can insult each other worst? Who can do the ignoring game? Like, it's childish, and they're in business. Like, they work in an office, like, so, or grow up. Yeah. But now it's starting to get a little cute, and I ended up like powering through the next 100 pages last night. So there you go. You just never know. So I am doing the Triple RC challenge this year, but it is no longer strictly romance novels. It is, I'm doing anything that meets the challenge. So if a book starts with whatever, then that's what I do. So I forgot to get this up and running, but please bear with me. It's 23. I know I'm gonna try and do this really quick. So challenges. Oh, where is it? Oh no, it's sorry. There we go. So the January. One is J is for January. Read a book that starts with J, or a book whose author's first or last name starts with J. And the links will be below, as they usually are. So I chose Jacoby by William Ritter, and I keep wanting to think of John Ritter, the actor. But it's historical, and I think it has to do with paranormal stuff. It says Doctor Who meets Sherlock. So I know Missy from Binge Reader loves this series, so we will see. And then next one is Olympian Gods and Goddesses, Aphrodite. And Aphrodite was the goddess of fertility, love, and beauty. During the Trojan War, Aphrodite fought on the side of Paris. Aphrodite and her son Eros, which is Cupid, teamed up to cause Zeus to fall in love with a human named Europa. Read a romance with a main character who is considered beautiful or handsome, or read a book with a child as a feature of the storyline. And this one is... why does it do this? Okay. I chose Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout, so I'll probably read both of them because, you know, it's a bind-up, which I hate. But anyways, so yeah, because I think they're considered beautiful, like, yeah, handsome and beautiful. So then the next one is, and again, I don't have that one ready. There we go. So 3 is Featured Author Challenge, and it's Lauren Blakely, so you can read about the fun facts about her and choose a book. So it's Lauren Blakely lives in California. Her novels are plotted out while walking her dogs. She is a New York Times best-selling author of contemporary romance, and her latest release, The V Card, was co-authored with Lily Valente. You may also read a book set in California or by an author who is from California, any book with a dog in the storyline or cover, a book shelved as contemporary romance, or a book co-written with another author, and I chose I don't know why it's doing this to me. 21 Stolen Kisses by Lauren Blakely. I don't have the cover because I have to get it as ebook. So let's see if I can get these really quickly done up here. Okay. Oops. Alrighty. Number 4 is National Hangover Day, January 1st, naturally known on following on from 31st December celebration. Sorry, I have not slept in days. So read a book where a main character has an addiction or gets drunk, or a book with a celebration on the storyline, like wedding, 4th of July, New Year's. So I picked Identical by Ellen Hopkins. If you know, she started writing books based on her daughter's addiction. I don't know what she was addicted to, but it's all written in verse. So it's pretty quick to get through. I just have to be in the mindset of reading about stuff like that first before I pick it up. And at 10 o'clock at night, it's not going to happen. So, Cuddle Up Day, or Challenge 5 is Cuddle Up Day, January 6th. Read a book with 2 people touching, arms, hands, any way at all, on the cover of a book that will leave you, happy with the warm fuzzies. Now, I think that was this one. Oh, yeah, The Bachelor's Stand-in Wife by Susan Crosby. They're holding hands and touching. So, yeah. The next one. Okay. Okay, whoops. There we go. Oh, okay, not having a good day here. Anybody else have those days where technology just does not work for you? I'm having a couple of those. There we go. Okay, so challenge, that was 5, I believe. 6, Male Watchers Day, January 8th. Read a book with a cover male model partially or wholly exposing his body, or a book with a detective in the storyline, or a mystery book. I wanted to buy Warrior's Woman by Joanna Lindsay because I don't have it. I checked for it at one of my favorite bookstores, used bookstores. They don't have it. So either I have to buy it brand new or see about the library, which I'm going to today. So we'll see. Book 7, or Challenge 7, is Appreciate a Dragon Day, January 16th. Read a PNR, which is paranormal romance, partially or wholly exposing his body, or a book with a detective in the storyline, or a mystery book. I wanted to buy Warrior's Woman by Joanna Lindsay because I don't have it. I checked for it at one of my favorite bookstores, used bookstores. They don't have it. So either I have to buy it brand new or see about the library, which I'm going to today. So we'll see. Book 8 is Challenge 7, is Appreciate a Dragon Day, January 16th. Read a or fantasy book, or a book with a character who could be termed a dragon, intimidating, gets aggressive quickly, metaphorically breathes fire, etc., which is Fire Me Up by Katie McAllister that I'm reading. And number 8 is Opposite Day, January 25th. Read a book that is outside your normal reading range, a book with an enemies to lovers trope, or a book with a cover that is mainly black and white. And I'm reading The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, and it is Hate to Love. Number 9 is National Cornchip Day, January 29th, which is my mother's birthday. Read a book that you have been wanting to relax with, perhaps with a hot drink and a bag of chips, or read a book with a color yellow or blue on the cover, and I chose The Girl with All the Gifts by, is it M.R. Carey? Unfortunately, it was brought back to the library, and the library lost it. So either somebody stole it, by taking the strip out or somehow, or they just can't physically find it because it's not on any of the shelves. So I have a hold on that. If not, then I'll pick something yellow from in there. And then book 10, Reader's Choice. Read any book of your choice. I think I've already put something in there, and I think that was Where'd You Go, Bernadette? But I could easily put this in, Lover Revealed by J.R. Ward, if Alana is ready to read it. We haven't really spoken. I think we're both been busy for the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's Christmas is busy for everybody. So thank you for sticking around so much, for so long. Sorry, it's 31 minutes long. It's 3 weeks put into one. So anyways, I will let you go for now. If you've lasted this long, thank you so very much. And I will talk to you later. Bye.